Beck really needs no introduction. He's come all the way up from Monterey, California. This guy has wrangled horses, women, and guitars. And he's traveled the world. Need I say more? Please welcome Mike Beck.
What an intro. Thank you. Thanks for coming today and getting inside the tent. And we'll have some fun here. So. This is a song I wrote with Ian Tyson. Any Ian Tyson fans tonight? One? The Canadian legend, Ian Tyson. Back in the day, it was Ian and Sylvia in the early 60s. Yeah, they were really good. Anyway, we wrote this about Joe Mora, a great Western artist, lived down on the coast of California where I grew up down in Monterey. So. Maybe just a little more guitar, at least. Thank you, Ted. Well, colors awash on adobe, mixed with salty sea air, filters in redwood and oak trees. It's the sound of Lucia standing there. The vaqueros trot into the plaza, guitars they build and sway. Horses and rawhide and silver slide and spin in a timeless display. Joe Mora told the story, color and the glory, and the Californios rode through dapple green and gold. Ay, 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 old California. Senoritas in the hand-woven colors, their scarves framed face the ground. Well, they dance at the Mission Fiesta, then I can sing, they twirl round and round. An ancient roar off the ocean, yeah, the grapes, you know, they ripen on the vine. The foggy arroyos and canyons, there's freighters anchored off the coastline. Joe Mora told the story, color and the glory, and the Californios rode road through dapple green and gold. Ay, 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 in old California. Some of the missions out by Monterey, they're molded in the wood and the bronze. Joe Moore's vision of yesterday, old California lives on and on and on. Joe Moore told the story, color in the glory. California's road through dapple green and gold. Ay, 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 no California. Joe Moore told the story, color in the glory, and the Californians rode through dapple green and gold. Ay, 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 no California. I can do this without my sunglasses. For some reason, the lights here get me. I don't know why. Maybe it's the altitude. I went to see Merle last night, and when he took his glasses off, he didn't like the lights either, because when he did take his glasses off, he kept his eyes closed. I said, that's a Merle trick. You know. So are you on my side? I can't tell. It's so spread out, you know. It's like people way in the back are like, we don't want to get too close to him. See, back there they're going like, I don't know, you know, maybe we're kind of tentative about this dude. We might leave. Okay, well, you know, where I come from, the good seats cost more up front, but if you want to sit back there, that's all right with me. I just want to know if you're still on my side. And you have to check in once in a while, because you all have each other, and it's just me up here. I'm glad to be here this part of the year in Genoa. Isn't it a beautiful setting here? Isn't it nice? Fun little festival. Well, when I drive all around the country, I see horses standing all around, you know. I see them standing around over there, over there, over there. I'm thinking, what in the world? And then you're driving along, you know, and you'll see somebody on one. You know, you almost pull over and watch and see if anything happens. So I was thinking, what would it take for everybody to get horseback again, right? So I wrote this song. It's called 20 Bucks a Gallon. Yeah, when gas goes to 20 bucks a gallon, get me out of the old backyard. Swing that saddle up on my back. I promise I'll work real hard. I'm tired of standing, staring over the fence. I wanna see the lights of town. When gas goes to $20 a gallon, I won't let you down. This is the chorus I wrote for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's hard to remember the words, I know. Well, I take your kids to school in the morning, pick them up at 4, and haul your drunk ass home from the bar, bring your groceries to your door, right up to the door. Yeah, you can cancel that car insurance and that old AAA magazine, 'cause all I want is fresh grass hay and the water trough kept clean. Here it comes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's only a bunch of Methodists, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. My boys used to stare at Corvettes and shiny old GMCs. Now they got their eye on that buckskin standing underneath that tree. Yeah, he's sure a little dandy. He can really step and prance. Take them boys to the football game, ride double with your girl to the dance. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Now when gas goes to $20 a gallon, get me up out of the old backyard. Swing that saddle up on my back. I promise I'll work real hard. Well, it's time to get up off the couch and shut off that big TV. 'Cause life is short, yeah, we're going for a ride. It'll just be you and me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I thought we should do some singing in here because it really looks like, I mean, if I was just driving by on the highway, I think it was like one of those, I think I was in like Georgia and there was like a religious revival going on in here. Big tent set up. sound. Can you hear me? Is that all right? This is for me, really. I don't think that I could ever settle down. Just got kind of turned around, and I hope the West keeps one more chapter open for me, 'cause I just wanna be where the green grass grows. We'll spend a little time in the saddle riding along. The wind through the sage, still my favorite song. And the cowboy life brings little pay. Crazy to be out here anyway. Yeah, you gotta wanna lay where the green grass grows. I lay where the green grass grows. I go where the four winds blow, and I'll never have a yard to mow and stuccoed house on the cul-de-sac road, 'cause I just wanna lay where the green grass grows. My old car looks like ready to die. Don't let her fool you, she still got plenty to try. With a little black and white dog in the back, we're down the road, we're making tracks, we're looking for a place. The green grass grows. Where the green grass grows, and I go where the four winds blow. And I'll never have a yard to mow, stuccoed house on the cul-de-sac road, 'cause I just wanna lay where the green grass see me fall, don't shed a tear. Body'll die, man, but the soul is out of here. You might think I had a good road to hoe. If I did it again, it's the way I'd go, 'cause I just want to lay where the green grass grows. I lay where the green grass grows. I go where the four winds blow. And I'll never have a yard to mow, stuccoed house on the cul-de-sac road. I just want to lay the green grass grows. I just want to lay where the green grass grows. Thank you.
Patrick.
Okay. Glad you're here, because I couldn't think of anything to play. This is my song I wrote for the horse. And the other way I make a living, in some case you didn't know, is I travel all over and help people with their horses. Now, I don't do it a whole lot, enough to go insane, and I don't have like a trailer with my name painted on the side of it. But I do enjoy, once I get there, helping some people. And I've taken an interest in the horse since I was quite young, and my neighbors were people that pretty much changed the way people look at the horse all over the world. Not everybody, but they made a big effect. And they were the guys that lived next door to me. So it was like if you wanted to be a guitar player and there was a guy that lived next door to you named Eric Clapton, but you just knew him as Eric, and you went over there and made coffee for him and rolled his cigarettes for him and hung out with him. And pretty soon, you know, you find out the whole world knows this guy. It was like that. And that was the Tom and Bill Dorrance Ranch right next to me. But yeah, I counted it up recently. I think it was 19 different states. When I think I haven't done many, I think like 19 different states and 6 foreign countries, if you want to count Canada as a foreign country. So it's Canada, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, and England. So it's really quite simple what the horse is looking for, in my humble opinion. And you have to earn it. You can't buy it. You can't make it happen. And it's free. It's just if you get on the right path, trying to find it. So I just wanted to write a song for that, and this is called "Don't Hurt My Heart." And I got a request. So. Well, I fought with you at the Crusades, and I fell with you at the Little Big Horn. Across the plains and plowed your field, I've been serving you since I was born. And I met some men with kind hands. Others, you know, their heart is still. Yeah, they work me hard, then they give me the whip. Never thinking about how I feel. So don't sore my back. Don't you jerk my mouth. Don't hurt my heart. I'll run to you. Yeah, I've been a cowboy out in the sage, and I sailed with Spain across the sea. And I made kings out of common men. How come it's taking you so long to feel for me? So don't sore my back. Don't you jerk my mouth. Don't hurt my heart. I'll run to you and I'll try for you. We come together. Yeah, we can fly. We can fly. Forgive all my wildest lost. But that flame, it still burns. Haven't always given you my all. Now I ask so little in return. So don't sore my back. Yeah, don't you jerk my mouth. Heart. Don't hurt my heart. Yeah, don't you hurt my heart. I'll run to you. Thank you, folks. Thanks for being a great audience. I'm glad to be here. I'll have some CDs for sale when I get off the stage. I want to go back.
Well, I tell you, I really enjoyed your performance. We've voted you the Genoa Male Performer of the Year.
Oh, really? That voting came up?
Yeah, the Four Horsemen, my equine brothers. But your talent is immeasurable. The guitar playing, the licks. Every time you act like you're really having a good time yourself. You're really getting into it. I love, the videographer. But when you get into it, the audience goes into a focus. You're concentrating, but your face is like, I'm having fun.
Well, you got it. I mean, I even at soundcheck, I'll get up there and play because, that's how I approach it. I want to get into it. I want it to be an experience for me too. If I can create an experience for myself, I can hand that off to the audience. They can give back to me, and so it starts circulating like that.
It's a lot of fun. We do a lot of shows for Ridgely, and a lot of the people we focus on is songwriters. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if you have anything to say to young songwriters, how you kind of built up for your songs from a young man to where you're at now.
It's a great question. A lot of people ask me, and I think that from my interest in writing songs is I'm way into it, and so I study other songwriters and I study other authors, and there's what I think that's really should be for young songwriters. They should know the songs that came before them. Dylan learned the whole Woody Guthrie catalog, and when he came to the end of that, and then he learned all the songs from the Isles, the British Isles and stuff. And I saw Tom Petty once in a little place with the Heartbreakers, and I could set my beer right by his Converse tennis shoes, And not only did they were dying to play, the Heartbreakers, and they haven't played in a while. And not only did he play all his hits, but he played songs by, the Zombies, the Stones, the Kinks, Bo Diddley, Chuck Berry. He knew the songs that came before him, and he didn't stumble on one word. These songs by the Zombies, and it really, I just started going, wow, they know the songs that came before him. Merle Haggard, he knows all those Jimmy Rogers songs, you can't. I don't know where else to start. Songwriting's a great topic that I love, and one of the things I love about there's no rules, and so you can approach it any way you want. But I think knowing the songs that came before you is really important.
But history is definitely important, and you're part of my history because I've done this event many years now, and you're my favorite performer.
Oh man!
Just the fact that when you play your guitar work is above and beyond what I can even thank you for. But also, you mentioned Merle last night. Did you say you have a friendship with the band? Because he said you saw his concert last night and you played with him before?
No, I haven't played with Merle. I've met Merle a few times, and he did remember me. But I don't expect him, to remember Mike Beck. But I think Merle is one of our greatest, maybe living songwriters that there is. And it's very interesting because he writes really incredible stuff that's intellectual, for lack of a better word. It's like if you listen to a song like Kern River, if you really listen to Kern River, it'll cut you in half. It's so heartbreaking and so wide open. And then he'll write My Own Kind of Hat, which is got all these it's almost like Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues. These words are coming here, this imagery, and I'm fascinated by Merle. He continues. He's 78. He continues to write great stuff.
Well, I was real proud of you last night when you mentioned him in honor, and you said you wrote a song for him. That was very, very nice.
I wrote a song not for him especially, but it's called Oildale, and it was about that's where the town he was born in. And down next to Bakersfield, and I went down there on a little mission to find Buck Owens, and I found him and all that, and then it led to this song.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, last night you also mentioned you had a new guitar. Did you call it Steve or Stevie or Steven? Steven. I thought that guitar was awesome. It was like you came off the rack right for you.
Yeah, that guitar was calling my name, and I was happy to find it, and it was happy to find me, and we're still getting to know each other.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Last question. Where does Mike Beck come from here? You've had people talk about you're really enjoying being with horses, and then have had people talk about have you coming back next year, of course. And what is your game plan in your career and horses? I guess you got two careers.
Oh, what our game plan. My game plan is just to try to do good work. Try to do good work and enjoy the ride.
Well, I tell you, thank you for coming to the Genoa. You're a treasure, and you're our male performer of the year.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, Michael.
And thank you for being on Nevada Trails.
All right. Thanks for your interest in filming everything and being a great boost to the whole arts. Thank you.
We appreciate your strong run.
Yeah.
So Michael Smith reporting from Genoa.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Shop Talk. We're inside the Carson Mall at Bridger Mountain Boutique. I'm here with Skip Pardee this morning, who has written a book called 10 Principles for a Healthier and Happier Life. Good morning, Skip.
Good morning.
What led you to write the book?
It's kind of goes way back about over 20 years. In the early 1990s, I was going through a period of depression, so I took a notebook and I started writing down what I thought it took to be happy in life. And over the course of many months, I pretty well filled the notebook. And then I started studying what I'd written, and I prioritized a lot of the things that I wrote. And I came up with what I call my 10 principles. And at the same time, I wanted to become a professional motivational speaker. And so I took these 10 principles and started speaking about them. And I spoke for quite a long time, had a lot of fun doing it. And then I just got too busy with my practice of chiropractic and my children, and I decided one day I wasn't going to speak anymore. And that was probably the mid to late 90s. And then flash forward to today, a couple of years ago, as I was approaching 65 years old, I said, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I thought, I really enjoyed speaking. I want to go out and do some speaking again. And I thought, but this time, I got to write a book first. That's what led me to writing the book.
All right. And I looked at some of the chapters that you have in here. Well, first of all, we should talk about the picture on the front.
I'll talk about the picture on the front. In Gardnerville, my house backs up to a beautiful view of Job's Peak. And so in the morning when I wake up, I can lay in my bed and look at the sun rising on Job's Peak. And on rare occasions, the sun will hit it just right so that the tip of Job's Peak looks like it's on fire. And I wanted to catch that for this cover. So Belinda Grant was my photographer. I've known her for many years. I said, let's see if we can't catch that. So I said, but in order to do that, you got to be at my house basically at sunrise. And she says, I'll do it if you'll have a pot of coffee waiting. And I says, deal.
Gotta have the coffee.
So she shows up, and we missed it. It just wasn't there that day. But this picture was taken at 6:30 in the morning in my backyard. And the other story I was talking about was the coat, which my wife has been trying to throw away for about 10 years now. And but it's my favorite coat, so I had to wear my favorite coat for the picture. But Belinda photoshopped all the spots out of the coat, so it came out pretty good.
So when you speak, is this your guideline?
That's my guideline.
This is
Actually, the purpose of writing the book was use the book as a syllabus for speaking. So if somebody was interested in hearing me speak, or if I wanted to solicit a speaking engagement, I could send them the book and say, this is what I speak about.
We talked about the fact that you're really a square fellow. What does that mean?
What's a square fellow? My God, I've never done drugs. I'm incredibly faithful to my wife. I don't drink except occasional wine. I don't smoke. I was a good dad to my kids, a good husband to my wife. I'm so square, it's ridiculous.
But in that squareness, it just follows that if you lead the principles that are written in your book, it makes for a much easier life.
Makes for a much easier life. Do you know why? Because you can go to bed every night with a clear conscience. That's one of the main reasons.
And so chapter 1, I just like to talk about your favorite chapters in here, but you made the statement, or maybe I did, that you can't go on unless you do at least the first chapter in your life.
Chapter 1 is take personal responsibility for your own life. And goodness gracious, I mean, that sets the tone for everything.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely everything.
And what's an example of that for a young person today to start thinking in that direction?
For a young person, number 1, be honest. Number 2, if you're in school, then take it seriously. Go to school, show up, study, get good grades, plan for the future.
Plan for the future.
And do it honestly.
And I think to take responsibility for your own life. Don't count on someone else to bail you out every time you get in trouble. You have to have accountability before you can grow.
When I went through chiropractic college, I essentially exhausted all our money. Luckily, I didn't have to borrow money. But so when Veronica and I moved over here in 1983, we rented a little office. We put an air bed in one of the rooms, and we lived there for 7 months because I didn't want to go in debt. And then for the next year and a half, we house sat. We met enough people, we started putting out the words. And so for the first over 2 years that we were in Nevada, we either were living in our office or living in somebody else's house, taking care of it for them.
Oh, that's good.
Just because taking personal responsibility of not getting into debt, which is one of my chapters, by the way. And then we eventually rented a house. We eventually bought a house. And then we bought our second house, which we live in now. And then I decided if I'm going to be in Gardnerville for a long time, I'm going to have to build my own office.
Oh, there you go.
So in 1985, I found some land. My father-in-law financed it for me. And I eventually built an office there in 1995. We're in the same office today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Chapter 2, live a life of integrity.
Can't emphasize that enough. It's the only way to live your life. I was fortunate enough to attend the United States Air Force Academy, and we lived under an honor code that said, we will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate among us those who do. And it's a wonderful way to live your life. A wonderful way. For 4 years, I would say 99 and 98 out of 100% of the guys there lived that code. You never worried about anybody lie, cheating, or stealing. It was common to leave your wallet in your room with your door open. We never locked our doors in our room. If you went to the gymnasium, you would see rows and rows of lockers that were not only unlocked, but the guys' pants were hanging from the locker door with their wallets in them. And you never worried. You never worried. And as a matter of fact, when you would leave the academy and go into the real world, you had to be careful because you were so used to living in this idealistic society that you had to be careful getting out into the real world. But it was a wonderful way to live, and I wish everybody would live that way today. Life would be so much simpler, so much simpler.
And you were a pilot.
I spent 8 years as an Air Force pilot, yes.
Oh my goodness. And what aircraft what was your favorite?
Well, my favorite was the OV-10 Bronco. I flew, I think, around 200 combat missions in Vietnam on that airplane. Twin-engine turboprop. I did aerial visual reconnaissance. I directed airstrikes over the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And I looked back at it now. It was kind of a good time in my life.
Yeah.
The flying was the best I ever had. Got hairy at times, as most anybody who ever went to war will tell you. It was hours and hours of boredom interspersed with moments of stark terror.
Stark terror.
Yes. I was laying in bed just last week thinking of any aircraft fire coming at me.
Oh, no.
And I've always said that I have this incredible guardian angel. And I haven't had any aircraft fire go by my canopy that far away on either side of me. Wow. Never hit me.
Oh.
And when I die, my first thing I'm going to do is find that guardian angel and say, great job.
Great job. Take responsibility for your own physical and mental health.
And you know what? It's so simple. It's so simple. We need our brain to function in this world, so don't screw up your brain. Stay away from drugs that alter your brain, because you don't know what you're putting into your body. And you can screw your brain up so bad, I've known so many people in this world who physically were handicapped but mentally were very bright, and they did well. Mm-hmm. They did well in the world. I remember in the 1970s I needed an accountant, and somebody said, go see so-and-so. So I show up at this office, and there's a lady behind the desk, the receptionist, who's in a wheelchair, and she's all bent over. And she was very, very nice, and she helped me a lot. And she wasn't the CPA, he was in the back room. And so she took my information, and a few days later she called me, and she said, Mr. So-and-so needs to see you. And I thought to myself, what a good man this guy is for hiring a handicapped person, but she's very bright. Yeah. And so I went back to the office, and she escorted me into the room, and here he's sitting behind the desk in a wheelchair, all bent over.
Oh my goodness.
And these two people were productive members of society.
Absolutely.
Because they had their brains.
Oh yeah.
Because they had their brains. And I'm so saddened by seeing young people who are screwing up their brains with drugs.
Right.
So that's one thing. Alcohol, kind of a similar thing. The same thing. Exercise, and what we eat. Oh goodness, you are what you eat, I tell you, and what you think too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no kidding. And the diets now you see. By the way, I've looked at a lot of diets. It seems to me that the best one on the market today is a paleo diet. If people are looking for common sense eating.
Oh.
Common sense eating, yeah. But there's been so many diets: the Pritikin diet, the Atkins diet, the South Beach, which is a good one, by the way. But it seems like the one that is the best I've seen is the paleo diet, just for some advice. Yeah. But diet, exercise, don't smoke. Oh God, if you smoke, just quit. Just quit. It does more bad things to the human body than you can imagine. You can imagine. And you think about two things: growing old and having a decent lifestyle as you grow old. And smoking probably will shorten your life, but a lot of people don't care a lot about that. Mm-hmm. But the quality of life as you get older is important, because I'm there, and I know. And it's nice to get up in the morning feeling good.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
So keep the body pure.
This is a big one. stay out of debt, live within your means, and accumulate savings.
And that is the hardest thing in today's society.
Yes.
I think it was a whole lot easier 50 years ago than it is today. Things are so more expensive
You
today.
talked about going to college, to your chiropractic school, how inexpensive it was compared to today, how it's escalated.
Probably, I would guess, 8 to 9 times more expensive today than it was then. $900 a quarter in the early 1980s versus the average chiropractic student today graduating with over $200,000 in debt. And that's the same thing with medical school, veterinary school, dental school. They're all graduating with huge debt. It's very sad to
It's
see.
very sad.
I made a goal when my children were born that they would graduate from college without any debt, and we did it. My last one graduated last May, just about a year ago right now, and no debt with either child.
That's brilliant.
By the way, my oldest daughter, Rita, who's 27, tells me when the first time she read my book, she says, "Dad, this book is like reliving my childhood."
Oh, I bet.
And she interviewed for a job not too long ago, and they said, "Tell us about yourself." And she said, "No, I'll just give you my dad's book."
That's great.
Yeah.
Earn a living doing something you enjoy. We talked about the fact that you loved what you were doing in the Air Force and you love your chiropractic work. How can someone looking for a job be sure that they find the right one?
Write down their interest. Write it down. Oh yeah, I did that. As I told you, I loved the Air Force, I loved flying, but there were things that led me to resign from the Air Force. I was a lost soul. I quit 7 jobs in 3 years. Didn't know what to do with myself, and so I just started writing down what I was looking for. And number 1 was I wanted to help people. That was my number 1 thing. Number 2, I wanted to work with my hands. Number 3, I wanted to be self-employed. And number 4, I wanted to work in kind of a professional environment. And there was a bunch of others, but those were biggies. And during the time that I was unemployed, I met my wife. She married me when I was unemployed, by the way, bless her heart.
That's great.
And she was going to a chiropractor. I knew nothing about chiropractic, and I watched her when she eventually went to work for him. And so I was hanging around the office, watching what he did, and I kind of got interested in it. And then one day he invited me to a Saturday morning picnic of chiropractors. And I came home from the picnic that day and I said, "Veronica, every one of these guys loves what they do." I said, "The only other place you see that with pilots."
Right.
And I said, "There must be something to this profession." So I did some reading on it and I thought, I think I could do this. Especially because they work with their hands. We work with our hands, I should say.
Right.
Chiropractors work with their hands. And we help people. Anyway, so I ended up enrolling in chiropractic college. And here I am 35 years later.
If someone wanted you to speak about your principles for a healthier and happier life, how would they contact you?
Call me. My home phone 782-7447 in Gardnerville, or my email address, which is in the book by the way, is skip.pardee@gmail.com. Or you can call my office. My last name is Pardee. It's in the phone book, and just call the office and tell my receptionist you're looking to have me come speak.
All right, and you can also stop in at Bridger Mountain Boutique inside the Carson Mall, and we'll have Skip's book available here. You'll be able to contact him through the book, or we'll have some of his cards right here. Anything else you'd like to add that we...
Chapter 10.
Chapter 10.
The last chapter. Understand that the seeds that you sow in your life will be the rewards that you will reap. And that's one of the laws of the universe.
It is.
It really is. It's like karma. It is karma.
Yeah.
That's practically the definition of karma. It's like Murphy's Law. It's a law of the universe that is infallible.
Right.
And we were talking about your son.
Right.
And I was saying that, I wrote in the book that you're working in a job and you have a new employee. I said the kindness that you show to that new employee. I said 20 years later when that new employee is your boss, They'll never forget it. You will. They never will.
Right.
Yeah, that's karma.
That is
And
karma.
karma is all about sowing seeds. And I like to think I do it every day in my life, and I hope most people do.
Well, I'm going to read this book. I'm going to try to live a better life, be a better person, and I hope you will too.
I stand and I wait for the touch of your hand in the June night. The roses are sighing, a moonlight serenade. The stars are aglow, and tonight how their light sets me dreaming. My love, do you know that your eyes are like stars brightly gleaming? I bring you and I sing you a moonlight serenade. Let us stray till break of day in love's valley of dreams, where you and I, the summer sky, a heavenly breeze, listen the trees. So don't make me wait. Come to me tenderly in the June night. I stand at your gate and I sing you a song in the moonlight, a love song, my darling, a moonlight
Here's Ann Delahaye with Sentimental Journey.
Gonna take a sentimental journey, gonna set my heart at ease, gonna make a sentimental journey to renew old memories. Got my bags, I've got my reservations, spent each dime I could afford. Like a child in wild anticipation, I long to hear that all aboard. 7, that's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. Never knew my heart could be so yearning. When did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey home. Gonna take a sentimental journey, gonna set my That's the time we leave at 7. I'll be waiting up for heaven, counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. Never thought my heart would be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? Gonna take a sentimental journey home. Sentimental journey home.
Here's Krista Jenkins to thrill you with the #1 song, In Their Eyes.
I fell in love with you first time I looked at you. With them there eyes, you got a certain little cute way of flirting. With them there eyes, you make me so happy. You make me blue. No stalling, I'm falling in a great big way for you. My heart's jumping, you've started something. With them there eyes, you better watch out if you're wise. They sparkle, they bubble, they're gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. You're overworking them, there's danger lurking in their eyes. First time I looked at you, them there eyes, you got a certain little cute way of flirting. Them there eyes, you make me so happy. You make me blue. No stalling, whoops, I'm falling in a great big way for you. My heart's jumping and you started something. Them there eyes, you better watch out if you're wise. I'm in your eyes. They sparkle, they bubble, they're gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. I've been looking for the boy with the wishful